So, sir, like since you come from army background, how does this sense of discipline and service influence your approach to assisted reproductive technology and embryology? And how should an embryologist prepare themselves? Do you have like few mantras for them?
Surely, I think it's a good teacher. Army does give you a discipline, but I think एक अच्छा teacher होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. And my teacher was Vignesh Sharma. And the day I joined the center, that was 31st of December. I felt very happy. Delhi was my hometown. I felt आज तो party होगी. It was homecoming for me. But he gave me a problem that day at around 6:37 in the evening. He told me, I'm not able to locate a straw. That time we didn't have Victory devices. We used to have straws in which we had to freeze semen and embryo spot. He told me to find a straw amongst in a can, cryo can. And I thought I'll do it. I knew how to do it. I spent around I started around 7:38. And by midnight, around 2 o'clock, I couldn't trace that straw. I went to him and said I couldn't trace it because it was not there. I said, why did you give me this work? Because Happy New Year. As an embryologist, you cannot think about going for New Year parties because you have to mature. When you mature, I will tell you to go. But you were not mature to go, so I stopped you by giving you some work. And what have you learned? I said, I've learned how to segregate the straws, to label them, do the cross-checking, take out the LN2, put the LN2 cans back. That was my the moment of reckoning. I knew that I'm in a different world. I matured overnight from a little, a young army lieutenant colonel. I matured into an embryologist. And after that, we have not looked back. I remember that when I was told by my teacher, did you smoke in the morning? I said, yes. He said, you can't enter the lab. And that was a very difficult time. I used to smoke, and now I have not smoked from nearly 25 years, but that time I did smoke in the morning. And I thought I can fool somebody and fool myself. But then I learned that you can't smoke, you can't take alcohol, you cannot take garlic, you can't take pickles, ginger, onions, because they generate VOCs. That time we didn't have a concept of VOC. We didn't have any VOC meters. That time we didn't have any. The only thing which we had was something called a fire kit, which probably you would have never seen it also. Fire kit we used to use to check the carbon dioxide. We used to just keep shuttling it up and down for around 15 times after pumping in the gases from the incubator, and then it had a small marker telling us how much the CO2 concentration. But gradually, your generation is very different. Now you're trained that way only, that people do good job. You got VOC meters, you got pH meters, particle counts. Every second when I meet a young doctor like you, they talk about parts per million and parts per billion. At our time there was no concept. I had to be a walking sensor. I've had multiple corporates when I've trained. I think I don't even know how many embryologists I would have trained, set up so many labs. But when I enter the lab, I tell, तुम्हारे lab के अंदर आज 10 ज़्यादा है, particle count ज़्यादा है. How do you know? He said, I can see in the light. I tell them, today your VOCs are high. They don't trust me. But when they look at the indicator, it is blinking red. So I think our teachers were not like the peppy teachers of today. Today's teachers will take the embryologists and they will record social media bites. They'll put themselves on the social media and try to tell world they know. Our work was very, very quiet, very badly scrutinized. In case we made a mistake, we were told to leave the lab. Once by default, I was counting the medias and the media bottle touched the floor. Though it was in the refrigerator, it shouldn't have touched the floor because it had to go in a tray. Then I was barred from entering the lab for next 3 to 4 days. So I think that is a very different era we had, and that's what it has actually made us into a more mature doctors. And army, as an army discipline, always gave me courage to walk on this path, and I think we have done well. And we were the pioneers of cryobiology, pioneers of ovarian tissue freezing from our setup, and we have done well. And I think the new generation is quite a pampered lot because they have everything at their back and call on their phone. They can call any engineer anytime. Didn't have any engineer. In case for me, the silicone tubing had an oil bubble. I didn't know how to repair it. XC machine has got a silicone tubing, and they were all that time air based or oil based. In case they get a bubble, then with contraction and expansion, it couldn't support the movement of the sperm. And in case it got cracked, what do you do? I remember we had to import the silicone tubing from UK. It was an RI equipment.
Yeah.
It wasn't available in the country at all. But now you just want a new RI, you want to buy an XC machine, you get within 2 hours.
2 hours, true.
That time even the silicone tubings were not available. Oils were not available. So we had no concept at all. And we were struggling at a pregnancy rate of around 30-40%, 50%. But nowadays, in case the result is less than 70%, I think that's a bad lab. So now we have more cancellations, we do good work, we are doing all blast transfer. The first time when we had vitrification in the country, that was year 2007.
2007?
Yeah. People were so scared that we can do vitrify by dipping it in the... At that time, the whole Europe was not propagating vitrification. But India took it on, and 2007 we had the first workshop in our country where we had something called cryo leaf. In case you wouldn't even have seen that, it's a big device in which we had to load our embryos called cryo leaf, and media was from origin. So big debate was on how to do it, but gradually it took us around 2 years to shift to vitrification. And after we got vitrification, we came back to our families again, because vitrification means barely 6 or 7 minutes, and the cryo planner took around on average around 3 hours for one
cycle.
This army discipline was always behind me, and rest, I think we need to have a good teacher, a teacher who can actually correct you, a teacher who can do your hand holding and put you on the right track. The same thing which we are doing at SEART. We are doing hand holding, teaching people the ethics, law, and we do the exact monitoring of every step. That's what we are doing now.
Yeah.
At that time, there were no teachers, and nothing was available for us to read also. We didn't have any books, we didn't have any manuals. There was no internet. There was no way by which we could know that we are doing good or doing bad. So that's the advantage of the younger generation.